The way you make love, sweet darling. That ain't the way you make love. You've been turning around uptown with some fancy clown, with some fancy clown. You've been turning around uptown with some fancy clown, with some fancy clown. I hear you in the background.
One of the unusual things about this group is that each guy in the group can lead. Any guy in the group can do it.
Straight out the Ville. It's the BackAlley Fellas Podcast.
They said we could never make it. They said
Billy got it bumping. In the back alley. Taking shots of whiskey and only go.
We're back. Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? Welcome to the BackAlley Fellas Podcast. It's your brother Mike D, brother Six, Big Pat. We in the building, 23rd stand up, Louisville stand up.
Peace and
What's the
prosperity. What's happening, people?
Hey, man, it's always a pleasure.
Yes, indeed.
What's happening?
Oh,
What's happening, my brother?
to the
What's
east,
up, my
my
people
brother,
out
to
there?
the east, my brother, to the east, my brother, to the east. Yes, sir.
Right here
All
on
is
the
well,
BackAlley
man.
Podcast.
That's it.
That's your BackAlley Podcast, your Super Summerfest coming at you live. Right here. Y'all remember that?
Nah, I remember that. I remember all that. All is well. What's going on, Big Pat? How you doing, brother?
Hey, man, I'm here, man. It's always, like I said, any day above ground is a great day, man. It's always a pleasure to be in the midst of you two brothers once again.
Indeed. Brother Six,
man.
What's up with you, doctor?
I'm doing well. I want to say what's up to the Ville out there. Give them a shout out to the listeners out there and to the viewers once again, man. Tell somebody to tell somebody to tell somebody. We're doing a little parking lot pimping over here. Mike, how you doing, big brother?
I see you got that radio voice on, boy. You trying to groove to the sounds, man. Shout out to Naughty Beats. Shout out to Louisville. Shout out to our beloved brother Reggie Smith. Rest in power, my brother. Love you always. Shout out to his family. Shout out to our family. Shout out to our friends. Again, like we said, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell another friend to join into this beautiful triune that we call the BackAlley Fellas Podcast. If you're a first-time listener, last-time listener, we shout you out. We salute you. We thank you. If you've been rocking with us and continue to rock with us, thank you so very much. Continue to build with us. Continue to grow. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Share this with a friend. Tell them to share with a friend. And let's just join in and make this a beautiful community. You know what I mean? And so with that, we gonna go on and get it popping. We don't want to waste no time, cause time is money, and we got to get it started. So with that, you know what we typically do. Y'all know what time it is right now. It is what is in your bottle glass, a cup. Now we typically do red cup for a number of different reasons, but that's our thing. So we want to know what's going on in your cup. You know, send us a
Yeah,
recipe.
send that in.
Let us know. We'll try it out, and we tell you if it's popping, if it's up to back alley standards. You know, and typically anything that you give us, we'll take it down because we drink things like beer. You know what I mean? You know, yeah, all they have to say is beer. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So, and we'll take it. So with that, I'll go around the horn. I'm gonna start with Brother Six today. Brother Six, what
All
do
right.
you have in your cup?
I I got some tea, brother. Tea with the lemon. That little mix, they call it. I forgot what they call it,
Arnold
but
Palmer.
it's real good. Oh, wow! Thank you, big brother Pat. I'm gonna ask what's in your cup, big brother Pat.
Well, I'm not from Long Island, so I ain't gonna call it Long Island iced tea. In 3rd Street iced tea. So it's a little lemonade, little tea, some Bacardi, and a little Sprite.
Oh, got a zang to him.
So it's a 23rd Street iced tea.
Man, this brother right here
Yeah,
mixing some things up.
Yes,
that
sir.
sounds
Yes,
good.
sir.
How's that
What
taste?
about you, Mike
man?
D?
Hey, I'm sipping on some Granny's tea, you know, a little Crown Peach, little sweet tea, and some other things in there, and I'm just waiting on somebody to give us a call, either Crown or Bacardi. Give us a holler,
Yeah,
sponsor
yeah,
the
give us a
brothers.
holler.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We doing you right. So with that, you know, after we do that, we always do our toast, we do our libations, and our brother sets it off. So you know, let's do it.
Let's do this. Bottles, glasses, cups that are plastic, alleyways backwards. Perfection takes practice. Friendship turned kinship. 2/3 of the street died nasty.
Brotherhood from the neighborhood. This podcast is going to be a classic. Divine state of mind. I'm moving subline on those rocks, brother. Give me something strong.
A mixer, slice of lime. Put your link up. Sorry, put your drink up. Now let's link up. There's nothing but love in this atmosphere. Peace and salutations, brothers and sisters, the fellas. We in here. Cheers.
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 That don't taste bad.
I'm sure it
Tastes pretty
don't.
good.
I'm sure it don't. Boy.
You know, Thomas, I did that with that energy drink the other day. It wasn't too bad. It tasted all right. I
Brother,
mixed it too. You know, I don't normally do that. You know,
Brother,
I'm a mutt when it
you
comes
would-
to drinking.
Yeah, you mix wine and what was that? Vodka one time. So I don't know what's going on with the lining of your stomach.
Yeah, man.
And I don't know.
So what I do, people, they don't even do no more. They don't even do that no more. They don't rock like that. They got their own versions of drink. You got to support the brothers out here that done made their own vodkas and wines and all that other stuff going on. But I ain't heard nothing else out the street. What about you? Anybody heard anything out the back alley?
Yeah, well, you know, I've been hearing some little rumblings, some little talks that that were discussing how men feel, African American men, or men American descent feel if their female spouse or counterpart made more money than them, if they were the breadwinner of the family. And I thought about that.
We're gonna call that a touchy subject.
Now so let's make sure, let's set some ground rules. This is gonna be a conversation, which means that you know, we jump in when we need to jump in. We you know, if we building, you build, but if you got to jump in, double dutch on in. And we might have to, this can go down a couple of different rabbit holes. So those that tuning in, just rock with us and we'll try to tie it back in.
Yes, so a double dutch is a thing now.
Yeah,
double dutch is a thing now, because I did it several times.
Yeah. So I'm gonna ask that question just directly to both of you. Would you have a problem there's a follow-up to it. But would you, Brother Pat, have a problem if your wife earned more money than you did in the household?
I'm gonna say yes, but before anybody that's listening or watching goes off on the deep end, let me explain.
Please do.
I would say yes because I was raised in a traditional old-fashioned manner, and I fully believe that the man should be the breadwinner. Now, he should provide for the family. Now, it's a different day and time than our ancestors, and women are highly educated. My wife herself has 3 degrees. So I wouldn't be upset in the sense of jealous or envious or anything like that. I just know I need to get my grind on so we be really banking, because in the end, I would want to provide more for the family. So if that would mean take on another job or start a business or whatever I needed to do. But I wouldn't be envious or jealous of her, but I just feel like the man should be the breadwinner.
I see a lane. I see a lane. And normally I would take that alley and we would go somewhere, but I'm gonna stick to it. Brother Six, same
You
question.
gonna stick to what, bro? You gonna
Brother
stick to
Six.
what, bro? I'm gonna go this route. I'm gonna go this route.
What you got, doctor? How would you feel?
I am going to say no. I wouldn't have a problem with that, and I mean at all with me. Now, I come from a background, and I've learned that it's the man's responsibility to take care of his family,
Mm-hmm.
and of course, the Black female value her the most. I've learned that. I've done that. I lived that road. I've also, have been a part of where the woman makes more money. So I have no problem with that, because to me, with that same question, there's a possibility in my mind. I'm gonna go a little deeper. Could a woman be considered as the great creator, the God of our universe, the God of our worlds? I've had that thought before. So I'm gonna leave you with that one, Mike, and ask you, how do you feel?
Okay.
Lost me real quick. Hold on.
Yeah, say that part. I think I got what you.
What did the God creator have to do with I'm not. It's kind of like
it's a
kind of like a Luther curl. It ain't quite curling on.
Not quite good. Like it
Yeah,
did. That tie-in was like,
but I'm missing the connection.
that loose tie-in was very loose.
And I know what that is from my big, to our listeners out there. He wants me to repeat that and break that down. On a higher level, if I have a problem with a woman making more money than me, I also, and on top of that, I would consider that, that the overall creator of the universe, of the worlds, of all mankind and everything that you could think of, I would think a woman could be that. So not only do I have a problem with the woman making more money than me, there might be a possibility that she just might be the God.
Okay, I got where you're going.
I'm just opening it up on these different avenues. I heard Mike talking about that lane, so I just wanted to open up one more lane before we go there. What do you think, Mike D?
That's a lane I'm not gonna touch at this moment. The leave Black woman God thing. Yes, I'm gonna leave that one alone right there. I'll leave that alone.
Sip on some of this 23rd Street tea.
Right on. I would say no. I don't have a problem. As a matter of fact, I wish that would happen right now. Nah, I would say that.
You said I wish it would happen right now.
I would say that I wouldn't have a problem because I'm secure where I'm at right now in life, and not that what Pat said means that he's not. It's just that I feel like I've worked for a good portion of my life to do for family and do for others. And so, sometimes you need that relief. You need that break. You need that opportunity to regroup. And so if if my wife was to earn, or she hit that lick, her business blew and grew, that's my best friend. So I gotta be like, yo, let's go. I'm champion what she's able to do, because she put in that work, and it manifested itself, so that we can add that together and make it happen. Where I think, and this could be on both sides, but where I think it could go wrong is if the woman holds that over the man's head.
And
Because
that's what's probably going to happen in a whole lot of relationships.
well, now, so the underlying issue where I said that alleyway is whether or not, and based on whatever beliefs that we come with, and how we're brought up, the belief that the man is supposed to do this, and the head of the house, all these different things, whatever religious construct that you want to believe in, and everything, especially from a Western or Judeo-Christian perspective, that plays that role. But I would also say that a lot of times we attribute being a man to the actions that we do. So one would ask, so we talk about, if I provide, if I do that, that means that I'm a man. But what if something happens where you're unable to do that? Does that mean that you're not a man?
Or less of a man, yeah. Okay.
So that's a whole nother rabbit hole to go down. But long story less long, I wouldn't have a problem with that. But I think that many would, and I'm curious to. It would be a great conversation piece to know why men would. You know what I mean?
You know, of course, that's not the road that I took. I was saying basically just because I'm old fashioned and I just felt.
Right. Yeah. I got it.
Going down that avenue though, we've touched on this a few times before. We are the product of a broken society,
broken culture, broken everything,
broken generation.
So what has happened is, remember one time we talked about people being crabs and not knowing they crabs.
Right.
To me, I think what would happen is, because the Black woman has been disrespected, beat down, talked to horribly, that when they start making more money and they're the breadwinner of the family, that false sense of empowerment for a lot of people would damage relationships, because they would come out. The first argument come out, man, I don't need you. I hear it all the time now when I see it on Facebook and Instagram. I've seen somebody, and I of course I won't say no names, but I'm friends with her. She's doing her thing. But every day, all she talks about how she don't need a man because she's doing her thing and all that. So the first thing that's gonna come out their mouth, I don't need you.
Yeah. So I agree with you from that perspective. I think that there's a so in our construct of trying to in trying to work out our psychosis of post-traumatic slave syndrome and all the things that come from that, and never having not only the freedom but the space to heal. So we're working, we're trying to heal in the space of still getting our ass whooped. You know what I'm saying? And we're building on a house of sand, on a foundation of sand. So I agree with you that there's opportunities, and there would probably be, and we see that in many ways of doing it. But what if your particular one, like I've known a few individuals where have worked with me, and or I know their work, and then they've their significant, their wife or whatever, uh, is doing their thing. They decided to be the stay home parent, get that time, so they doing everything with their kids. They miss the dad. You know what I'm saying? And they doing their thing, and that work life balance is phenomenal. And the wife uplifts that brother to the utmost, and vice versa. And so what? So if the woman, so if your woman was like always lifted you up and saw you for the king that you were, um, would you still have an issue? Taking away the traditional how you were raised, would that still be an issue? Would your mindset, Pat? I'm speaking to you. Would you still be wanting to do whatever you had to do to try to make more money than your spouse?
It's
I'm
just
gonna walk with that one too.
it's embedded in me, I guess, because I just feel like the man should be the provider. There was a time when my wife made, but see, you gotta understand, I'm truly a joint relationship. So my relationship is really, I can't even discuss this because, like, I still know people that are happily married but still have separate bank accounts and all that stuff. We don't do that. We Everything that comes into the pot, whether she puts in, I put in, goes into our bank account and we use it. Um, but there was a time when my wife was making almost as much. And to be honest with you, and this again, this is just me. I let her put her money. Our kids were young then. She did all the stuff with the kids and gas and groceries and stuff like that. I still paid all the bills. I paid the mortgage, the light, the water, the phone, cable. I paid the car notes, the insurance, all the bills. I took care of the house because I felt like I'm supposed to be the provider, and I let her.
So, and I understand that tradition. I understand that. But if we dig deeper, why do you think that you feel that way? Why do you feel compelled to do that? Like to even to the point where you would not, I won't say not have, or work yourself even more so than you needed to in
I
order
did
to,
3 jobs during that time.
right? So what, and I get, so I'm trying to go past that traditional space to try to even go deeper. You dig what I'm saying in that
Yeah,
question? If
yeah,
if if I could,
That
like,
traditional space is me.
okay,
So we
yeah,
get that's me.
sure,
yeah.
I'm rooted in that.
sure,
You know,
I do understand.
there's some.
Again, I wouldn't have a problem with it to a point where I'd make it an issue. But we grow together, we live king and queen, happy, move on. But in my mind, I'd still feel like I'm supposed to be the provider, so I need to
Right.
aim up.
okay,
You know, when as coming up, and I ran into the nation. We were taught just that, and it makes sense if you think about it. Because for me that question goes all the way back to our ancestors, where the man went out and hunted. He brought in the food.
Yeah.
And she was there to prepare the food and prepared him to go back out to the field for the challenge once more. So, there are just, and I know we all know some that are just don't even take instructions well for a woman to be their boss, in some settings, or to give any type of corrective criticism to a man. He won't, for anything like that. So I can think of the devastation in a brother's mind and what he goes through when a woman makes actually more money than him and calling the shots. It's got to be a terrible thing for some brothers. And we talk about that mental state. But to answer, to go off the back of Pat with saying that, it's a must that as a man that you provide that security to a woman, especially a Black woman these days, because it's the way we was raised and it's what we've seen coming up. You
So-
think back in our neighborhood.
so go ahead, Six.
You think back in our neighborhood when we were coming up, That's how we were brought up. Even though we had, most of us was fortunate in our neighborhood. Even though, think about this for a minute, fellas. Think about where we came from in the West End of Louisville, and out of all three of us, no matter how bad or how good it was, we had two parents in the home, man, that was working or doing something to bring money in. So the way we was raised had a lot to do with the way we are now. Whether they make
I
it
ain't know
more
my
or not.
daddy. I ain't had two parents. I ain't my daddy.
But you had a male figure in the house. Let me correct that. We both had a male and female in the house.
I don't like the way you said Louisville. You said Louisville.
I know.
I was going. You getting a little South Carolina on there. I was like, I didn't like the way that you said that. I was gonna let that slide, Pat, but I was like, Louisville. I was like, that ain't how we say that. That's not. Wait a minute.
Hey, I told you the brother from Indiana. Now, Mike, on a deeper sense, like I think you were going.
Here we go.
I agree that I wouldn't have a problem with it, because the truth of the matter is, if you're on let's use my relationship as an example. Where we are in our relationship, everything we have goes into a pot. So if she made, but truthfully, it doesn't matter for us, because all of our money goes into a pot, and we pay bills, spend, leisure, and we talk to each other. If I'm gonna make a big purchase, I call her first. Hey, I'm about, I want to spend X amount of money. Well, she does the same thing.
Right.
So we spend out of one pot. So the truth of the matter, for us, it doesn't matter. So I was speaking more on those that keep that separation, have the separate accounts and
Well, and the way I looked at it, because my wife and I, we had this conversation at one point, and it was just it was an interesting conversation, because we thought about several people that we know, and we talked about the pros and the cons that we've seen, and for me, I don't know everything about it. I don't know but a smidget of our history, true history of the cultures that we had, to say that this is the exact way that things were done. I know we always say we go out and hunt in the woman and this. I get that, but I also know that there were villages, there were cultures, there were civilizations where the name was passed down from the maternal or the maternal side of the house, so from the woman's side of the house and things of that nature. So I do understand those aspects. I'm looking at the psychology of it all in the way that we work, so that it's like, how does this manifest itself in just the way that we converse? How do we interact with one another? And if the statistics of now, statistically, it does show that men on average earn more. I had it up, but I took it down, earn more money than Black women. But I think the average income, you know what I mean? So if I was going off of these one things, I think like there's a certain level of income. I don't want to give those numbers and it be off, but women still earn less money, but we also know that I think that more Black women have more degrees, higher degrees than anyone, and so where they where they might be earning 67 cents to the dollar, and we might be 90 something cent to a dollar, but if they are still getting more high paid jobs, then it may equate out. And so it's just I think it's just an interesting conversation, because I what's up?
Let's do the truth of the matter. The truth of the matter is, we all know that in this situation, and it's our fault. It's not gonna fare well for men, because of how we've treated our women over the years. And again, it's a systematic thing. We didn't realize how bad we were treating our women because we were broken. We've been broken as men.
Facts.
And so I see it. When I tell you, Mike and Brother Six, and Brother Six knows this. You don't see it because you're not here as much, Mike. But I literally live hours. I put at least 10 or 12 hours a day on Facebook and TikTok. And I got multiple, I'm talking about, I can't even count it, multiple women. All they do is talk about, I don't need a man, I'm doing this. And you know, again, I don't blame the sisters. And I love what they're doing. But because we're broken and we've essentially broken them on how we treat them, and how society has said we've done it. Some of that ain't true. Some of that is society making us look like we're mistreating our women. And people have bought into that. Environment. So as soon as they start making a little bread, I've seen this so many. I saw it today.
Yeah. No, like, I'm gonna tell you though, Pat. I watched a couple of. I'm not gonna even shout out the other person because they get huge views, and I watch them, and some of the questions that he throws out are quite interesting. But I think I get the overall point of where he's trying to go with the topic.
Yeah.
And in many ways, and again, we're kind of circling around the centerpiece of it, but it all kind of ties in.
Yeah.
When we talk about that, and you talk about what you see with women and so forth and so on, and the hurt that hurts, you know, a lot of that is kind of based in this notion that I want. It's not based in reality. It's like if the average income for a man in America is like $51,000, and let's say for an African American man or black man, however you want to classify it,
right,
it's $41,000, $41,500. So it's slightly less, and we understand that based on where we live at. So the average medium income for a man is 50-some thousand. The average income for an African American man is 41,000. So individuals that make $70,000 to $80,000 are in the top percentile, 13% or something like that. But it's not as many. Those that make 100,000 or more are even in a smaller percentile. So when a woman says that I only want a man that earns a certain amount of money, and those individuals that typically, not your athletes, not your rappers, not your entertainers, not your drug dealers, but people that go to work, do their thing, get their degree, go through all this. The average age of those people are between 45 and 55 when they start earning that type of money. So in your 20s and 30s, most people ain't really earning that type of money. So when we say that that's what you want, so if you're 20-something, late 20s, early 30s, and you say you want a man that makes that, you're not basing it on a reality. Because the reality is the men that earn that kind of money are in our age bracket, and they ain't trying to date that. You know what I'm saying? And there's certain criteria that these men in this bracket might want. And so when you say 80% of the men I'm not even looking at, that's where our community goes wrong. Because in the instance of this, and this is where I think where we were trying to go, at least where I was trying to go. Just because and you use this security, just because you might, based on the situations that we in, earn more, doesn't mean that I can't meet those other needs of support, intimacy, security, based on just the reality that we in. So if you want a man that might beat you upside your head or do this, this, and this, and this, but have this certain earning power, or cheat on you, do whatever. You can go that, but you dismiss the brother that's a hard worker, that's respectful, that's gonna treat you the way that you need to be treated, and so forth and so on, because of their earning power. And so the question becomes: are we only looking at each other as monetary gains? Are we only looking at us for in dollars and cents, and not the whole thing?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I can walk with that, because that comes to my next point of view, and that is what exactly are you looking for that? If that woman in your life starts making more than you, or you met her making more than you, is that what you want? Is that what you're getting out of life? And vice versa for that woman that you're talking about, Mike. It's like, what would you put yourself in that situation? What do you give? What do you give up? What type of life and what type of mental state are you in to live with that and say, she's making more than me, I'm cool, I'm gonna munch off this along my sugar mama or sugar daddy, type of syndrome.
But why does it have to? Why does that label even have to be there? Why does in it? Go ahead.
Because I believe that's something that what Pat was mentioning, and that is what we've become in our society. And I'm gonna touch on what you talked on, Mike, is what we've become. That's language that we use for those who are looking for that. You know what I mean? You're gonna look for that percentage of, you got an average male who makes 41,000, black man that makes 41,000, but you're not in reality with yourself. But you're looking for that one who makes 100,000 at 20-something years old. You're not in touch with reality.
Well,
that label has come.
Well, so I think that the other piece to that is that, based on reality, you talking about whether or not you want to have a family, what that means. See, one of the things that we don't do in our community is that, we don't even talk about relationships and what that entails, and what that's going to look like down the line. So, we have sex, then we date, we have sex.
Do it all backwards.
We might have some babies. Children. Then we start figuring out what that's going to take to have to earn for a family. So when you talk about the earning potential and what it's going to take, and whether or not a woman is going to work after they have a child, or so forth and so on, or for how long, or whatever, it goes into all of these other different lanes. But if you happen to if you were on your grind and you were doing your thing and you were satisfied, I this is what I do. I make my I do this. I'm happy. I'm extremely satisfied in the work that I do. It fulfills me. I'm good. I just want a woman that's God-fearing, respectful, blah 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 bliss. And you happen to find a woman and y'all into one another, but this woman was on another different path. She went to college, school, whatever, and she earns this. And y'all get together and she treats you the way that you want to be treated, and vice versa.
Yeah, it shouldn't matter.
I think I think from the outside, maybe some people might look at that or might wonder how it is. But if we're dealing in numbers, and that's not always the same, because typically, like I said, the numbers show that men earn more money per dollar, than women do. But I guess I'm looking at it from the perspective of, have we reduced ourselves in our relationships, in our brokenness, to just our earning potential? And how do we then turn around and get this back? Because the other part of it is I saw some things, and I would love for us one day to touch on this, and maybe even to get some women in to touch on this, is that we have done a piss poor job of protecting our black women.
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, that's we don't have to say no more. Like ain't no argument. We've done a piss poor job of
lights on
of protecting them. And there was some things that were going on, and I was watching some a particular podcast, and they had some women on, and they were discussing, this young child and these allegations, and to hear the women comment about how they've been raped in their life. This was 100% of the women. It was like 3 women on the thing, and maybe a few that, and every woman that was on there had something that happened to them, and they had to work through it. And what they said was, what hurt them more than anything was to watch men back the accuser and put the girl or the woman as the enemy. And I'm not gonna lie, it messed with me.
Yeah.
It messed
You know,
with me
that's
because I was like, wow.
That's a bad situation, man.
I
Because
was like, wow, we ain't doing a good job of protecting our women, man. So
no,
I'm with
we
you,
not,
Pat.
man.
We that hurt that we've put on them.
Yeah.
It's like that, whether they understand it or not, and whether some of it is proper. Because I do believe we talked about this we talked about this last week with the industry. I think the industry, entertainment media, pits us in very subtle ways of going against one another, whether through music, visual aspects or whatever. But I think in very subtle and unconscious ways, it's part of that get back. Like,
Yeah, man. I believe we are truly the majority of us. I ain't gonna speak to us all, but some of us viewers out there and the listeners, all of us. I ain't gonna say all of us. Most of us have come a product of our environment. We shaped and we formed. And for those that the system that you're talking about has made us, I ain't gonna beat around the bush. Hey, don't get mad at us, because don't get mad at some of us, because this is what you created. You've created this monster or this well-dressed man, or however you want to label it. Most of us have become that. So you can't. It goes back to where I was talking a while back. It starts with the person in the mirror. How do you look at that woman, since she's judged more than she makes more than you? How do you feel? What do you do? What do you do about that situation? You get up off your butt and say, hey, I'm gonna do what my brother Pat said. I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna do what I gotta do just to make sure that I make more than her, because I don't think it's right that she goes out and she works. I don't think my woman should work at all. But do some of us have that reality? Can we live that way? So it's a question for me about, what do you want to do as an individual, as a Black man?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I wouldn't have a problem. What you about to say, Pat?
Yeah, it's just, I just think that, again, I was sitting here thinking, and I was going back over a lot of our topics that we've went over on our podcast. And if you group them all together, you corral them all together, it still comes back to
Our number one broadcast.
And and
Yeah, we broke
things that we're having. We're having.
Yeah.
It comes from decades and years of disparity and brokenness. So hopefully, I'm really hoping that our podcast can touch somebody, even if it's just one. It can just reach somebody to look at themselves. I like that, Brother Six, looking in the mirror, look at yourself. And I was just thinking, and I'm not shouting out nothing, but this conversation we're having today has actually already been 2 Tyler Perry movies. The one where the guy was the lawyer, and he left his wife for the younger girl.
Diary of Black Man.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Another one where the wife was really rich, and she made more than the husband, and she kind of dogged him out because she made more money than him. I forgot which one that one was, but but that even shows that this is something that we all know about, but collectively as a group of Black men have not started to try to fix it. And we really do need to fix it because it's one of the things that's keeping us. It's just one of the multiple things that's keeping us from getting to a
Well put.
overwhelming level of success as a people.
Next level.
We got
Yeah.
so much
True
baggage.
indeed. True indeed.
Yeah.
So I don't think that there's a whole lot more that we would need to touch on. I think that for the viewers, those that's listening, those that will check us out, it's just a question that you would ask your girlfriends, ask your partners, and have that conversation, and then ask yourself why. I mean, and again, taking a step down and looking historically at many things and the traditions that we come up with, you will find a number of different reasons on why you feel that way. But
Yeah.
the biggest thing is that no matter what it is, what we can't do or what we can no longer do is we can no longer pit ourselves against the black woman. The black man and black woman we cannot afford to be the enemy of one another. Like it can't
Facts.
happen.
I was thinking about this, something we had said once before too. We got to speak up. Remember, I told Brother Stick to say, well, what do we do? Because the vision that I had in my head was the black man, or not even the black man, the black culture being a hot air balloon.
Mm-hmm.
And it's rising. There's no doubt that we've come a long way from where we were.
Mm-hmm.
The balloon is going higher, but on those hot air balloons, they got them bags hanging.
Mm-hmm.
Release the bags, the balloon goes higher. But we can only get to a certain height because we still got so many bags.
Yeah.
So I say that in saying, I'm one of them people. So those that know me, some of my friends get upset, some stop messing with me because I tell you, I had a friend of mine was telling me about some issues, and I guess he wanted me, this was about a year ago, I guess he wanted me to support him. And I was like, nah, man, that's wrong. And he was like, well, what should I do? You should go home to your wife, man. You should tell her that you was wrong and you need to fix that. Well, no, man, you was wrong.
Mm.
We got to quit treating our women like that. In this situation, based on what you told me,
Yeah.
he wanted me to tell him, oh, man, you right. Yeah, because a lot of us do that.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
these is facts. These is facts.
I
That's
told him,
true.
I said, man, you wrong. You need to go back home and talk to your wife and apologize and tell her you was wrong and you need to fix that.
And we got to have more conversation where we're talking to each other and not at each other.
And not at each other. Yeah.
And we got to be able to listen. And that's on both ends. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes, it's okay to matter of fact to not have answer. Sometimes the conversation or the statement made is not for anyone to give a reply back. It's for me or that person to say their piece. Like, I ain't looking for you to agree or disagree. I just need you that did this.
I was like, what happened?
Right.
I didn't know what happened.
I was trying to figure out, like, he in PowerPoint view or something like that. But
did that flash? Did y'all see that? Y'all see that?
We saw it. And you were screaming out. So I was like, what happened?
I'm trying to figure out how I can put that up and read from it, and because it's a beautiful what you two brothers is talking about. I have that quote hanging in the restroom in there, and it talks about love rules, and it's beautiful what you two brothers is talking about. And I wanted to read it. I didn't know that it came up like that. I'm see if I can get it. Yes, sir.
It's all good. No, I think that at the end, we just got to have a conversation where we get to a real conversation amongst ourselves as men about what we gonna do and what we not gonna do as it relates to protecting our women, protecting our children, protecting our community, and standing on that. And then I think, like Pat said, some of those things will work its way out over the course of time, but we got to start setting some kind of standards. And I think that, we we gotta we've captured a lot of bullshit in our culture, and we called it culture. And
Yep.
it's not culture. It's not black culture. It's not our culture at all. It's not our people's culture. Like we have some things that we do and we hold on to, and we like, yo, this is just, and I'm like, yo, that's the culture, that's the symptoms of a sick mind, of a sick body. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
if you gave that to a psychologist, just on, they'd be like, oh man, that they crazy as hell. That, who does that?
Yeah.
So,
Right.
but we hold on to it as a badge of honor because that's just how we, that's how we do. That's, you know what I'm saying? That's how I was brought up. Yeah, but we was brought up fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the
So
way I
if
was
I know
raised.
that
I've
off
heard
the
that
top,
somewhere.
why am I trying to, I can take the best. See, if I'm intelligent, this goes back to where you was going. If I'm all wise, if I'm, how's it go? The maker, the owner, cream of the planet Earth,
Oh, yes, sir.
Father of civilization, God of the universe. If I understand that, and even if you tag on and put the woman in that aspect, and we could go back to that if you like. If I understand that, then I'm doing the knowledge, right? So I'm saying, yo, I'm wise enough right now to know that I don't want that. I like that, but I'm not messing with that. I like that part of what I came up with, but I don't like that. I like what
Right.
Pat and Six has shown me over the course of time, but I don't like that. You know what I'm saying? I like this,
Right.
huh?
They call you bougie, or you don't forget where you came from.
And I'm okay with that, because here's the thing. I know that wherever I go, I put Louisville on my back. Wherever I go, I put Louisville
most
on my
of
back.
us, we
So,
wasn't raised
I'm okay.
that way. We just wasn't raised that
Raised
way,
like
man.
what?
And I
We wasn't raised like
to
what?
be we wasn't raised to go with the crazy thoughts, with that crazy part you're talking about.
Ooh.
Most of us wasn't. I know we wasn't. Not in the neighborhood. We wasn't. When we was raised, brother Mike D, when we raised up, we got our ass whooped if we got out of line, especially when it came to the black female.
You right.
I get what you said. Yeah. So I get what you're saying. And I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this to our listeners. I'm gonna say this to the listeners out there, that you are young men. I'm gonna speak to the young black men just for a moment. You got to respect yourself first. Once you respect yourself, you'll learn and you'll know how to respect that black female, because that's what we're missing. I believe. That's just my opinion. I'm just saying that. I'm gonna jump on it, and I'm
You
jump
absolutely
up
right.
of it. We just gotta respect ourselves, and then you'll know how to respect that black woman.
But here's where I was gonna go, Pat.
Nobody doing nothing to your mama.
Here you go.
Your mama when you doing it.
But here's what I was gonna say. No, we wasn't raised like that, but we did it.
Yeah,
listen,
some of us
I haven't seen, and I done seen some wild stuff in my times being here and going here and there around the world. I still ain't heard people cuss the way that we used to cuss when we were little. If y'all think about some of the stuff that we used to say to each other in joking or just in general, some of the stuff that they say now,
blow your mind.
That people get into fights, but we used to say that, like, if I'm like, the way that we used to put words together to be disrespectful to one another was insane. And we used to laugh about it. We used to call, so no, we wasn't raised that way, but where did we get it? How was the whole, like, Pat, come on now. We come on now. It was some wild. It was wild. So if we weren't raised that way, how did
raised too?
But how did that come into our cipher then? If that wasn't what we saw, we understood, we knew, how did that become into our cipher?
I'll tell you something else too, just to touch on that.
I ain't asked you, I asked Pat. Nah, I'm
Brother
just messing
Pat.
with you.
It was the women and it was us and the girls too, Mike.
Yeah, no, facts.
Yeah, that
Facts.
was.
Facts.
Go ahead, bro, Pat. Speak on.
No, I agree with him. You know, again, for the listeners and our loyal friends and family, y'all know me and Mike very seldom agree on anything, but this we agree on. Again, that's 2 weeks in a row. So this we agree. I agree, and we did it. But in the end, the vast majority of us have grown up to be very respectful and loving our own culture, loving who we are, loving our people. And that's, for people that are listening, that's what we're trying to do with this. So please, again, tell somebody to tell somebody to tell somebody, because you got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, we talked about, it's always a lot of talk about what we're going to do in the Black community. Well, what we're going to do? Well, we're trying to do it. We're trying to at least generate the conversations to get us talking about it, to get something going. And I'll tell y'all something else. With these two brothers, we got more to come. This is going to grow. We had to start somewhere, and we're going to grow. And I see this going into maybe some nonprofits or some building blocks or some events, some events. So us doing some kind of events for the youth or for Black women or empowerment.
Six.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was gonna tag, because I was gonna go back and circle back around where Six had said, which where Pat, where you were at, and what Six had said earlier. The beginning or the source of it is self, is recognizing and having knowledge of self. And then before you go outside and try to start your nonprofit and do all that, is your house in order.
The house in order.
I don't say, and that doesn't mean that you don't do the things that you do and your children or somebody, because they're their own people, go off and do some other things. I mean, that happens. You can't control those things. You can only do the best of your ability and then try to add on. But it does say, it does mean that you start with yourself and then you try to do that to the best of your ability in your spot, in your house, and then you try to add on with people that are doing that, that are alike.
Right. That's right.
You know what I'm saying? And then you build on, and then we come together, and that becomes a small community. And so I think, if nothing else, we talked about initially about whether or not that would bother us as men. And I think if we had more men, we probably could have got into deeper conversations, or we could even brought women in to even touch on, if they did that, how would they feel? Because that's another piece that would be interesting. It's like, if they earn more, how would they feel? And if they feel that way, why do they feel that way? Because that's something that I really would want to know from women's perspective, is if we dealing with facts, if we dealing with the facts on the ground, and we look at this and we look at this, and you have the potential to earn this. If you reduce being with someone, like, so if a man reduced himself to only dealing with women that earn the same amount or more than them, it's a whole bunch of women that get left out, right? So when women that earn a certain amount take on that stance, do they understand that that very stance, if men took on that, they would not even be able to get those men that they were looking for? You see what I'm saying? Is that the only thing that we looking for? Is that the only thing that we are looking for?
To this, and actually invite at least 2 women on here.
Let's do it.
Do a part 2 to this and get their perspective.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I want to end with this, dear brothers. To our listeners out there, I want to thank you all for listening once more. And back to the question at hand: Would it be a problem if your better half, is what we call it, ball and chain, the queen, goddess to God, would it be a problem if she made more than you? For me personally, to any young black man out there, if you have a woman that is making more than you, is starting to make more than you, yeah, it should be a problem because it ain't a race. But as a black man, you know you was raised in your home, hopefully, not everybody, but hopefully, to take care of your family. And that means you're a woman. Make sure that she's secure, man. Die for that. If somebody put your hands on your black woman, you need to die for that, including you. If you put your hands on the black woman, you should die for that because that's all we got, brother. When she's born, she gives birth to a generation, not to just a family or an individual. She gives birth to a generation, brother. So every time that black woman is put down or looked at it a certain way, you gotta think about that and say to yourself, am I gonna let my woman take care of my family and me while sitting on my lazy butt and do what a woman's supposed to do? We weren't raised that way. So I want to say that to our listeners out there, man, and give a shout out to everyone and pass it on to my next brother.
I don't even know how to follow that. I'm going to leave y'all with, it's always a pleasure to be with you, brothers. I didn't get to shout out to my brother, Reg, and his family. I keep in my prayers always, daughters and his wife. We got to start somewhere, and please tell someone to jump on this Back Alley Fellas podcast.
Who
And let's
named them the piccolo player?
Let's make this thing grow. Let's grow this family. Let's make this community the community.
Ashe. So we'll end it. You know, again, it's always good to be in the presence of my brothers. I love them to death. Love you, brothers. I love y'all families.
Love you back, there, brother.
About it. Love the viewership. We appreciate those that are consistent and constant, and those that are not. You know, we just hope that you grow with us, that you rock with us, and that you give us that criticism that we so desperately need to take this to the next level and share, because we really want to take this to a place not for any other purpose, but to have this conversation, this dialogue, to save the community, to save fallen humanity, to walk in our destiny more than anything else. And so, you know, as we say, we bid you adieu. We appreciate you. We love you. And like always, we end like this. The time is now, and the week is new, and we'll have more podcasts for you. And you'll have things you want to talk about. We shall too. See you later.
One time, 23rd.